Welcome to part two. If you thought that I were a bit wild in part one, you didn't like it, don't watch. Nobody's forcing anybody to watch. When I was a kid, I used to go to my mate's house because he had a big snooker table in Tickhill, and his family used to watch Songs of Praise on a Sunday. And we used to be in snooker room, and he said, "Oh, I'm gonna have to go in there and watch that." And I said, "I ain't going in there. You don't have to do anything in the world that you don't want to do. If you don't want to watch, if you don't like Porky's Corner, fuck off." That's what I say. Watch it. If you want to troll me every day but keep watching it, go and get help. Get out of your bed sit, get out of your bed sit, and go and get a bit of help. You're having to send me 20 emails a day telling me your life story. Oh my God. So,
You could be Anthony Uncle, Dear Porky.
I swear to God, some of these emails I'm getting lately are that strange, Andy. Do you know what do you know what I'm glad about in this world? Especially in Euclid, do you know what I'm really glad about? That we've got like special hospitals, for people that keep emailing me. There's special places for them. There's places out there, just a case of getting them in there, innit? I'm
Get a nice
so
get to put a
glad
nice
we've got,
jacket on with it.
mate. I'm so glad we've got places like that for for fruit bowl, fruit nuts. For people pretending to be dead trainers on here.
Yeah, well,
People, what about that Mike Costello one who set a fake Mike Costello account up and were trolling Eddie Hearn? I mean, like you get up one morning and say, "Today I'm going to be Mike Costello and I'm going to set a YouTube channel up." Do you know, can you imagine that? Because this is what we're dealing with. Do you know what the way around it is? Everybody who has an account on what is the 17, 18 different platforms of Facebook, Twitter, or X, and the Insta,
yeah.
LinkedIn, WhatsApp, whatever, all these platforms across the world make everybody pay £1 a year with their bank details. And if they step out of line, well, they know who it is, don't they?
Yeah.
Right? And they'd all pay it, and it'd bring them all into line, all these that are pretending to be other people.
They would disappear back under the stone they crawl out from under it.
Well, I don't comment on other channels, in it, because the idiots pretending to be me. You've only got to click on right hand side, it tells you when the account was set up and that, doesn't it? But people are that thick, aren't they? Do you know what I mean? It can do damage, can't they, behind the scenes? So this is why
Yeah.
you have to set your store like I said to Bob, you've got your set store like you've got to get a vibe for your certain channel, haven't you? Everybody knows
Yeah.
what the IFL TV vibe is. They're not they're in the pockets of two promoters, aren't they? Queensbury and Matchroom. That they're the IFL stomping ground and all them. They're like boxing social. They're like little bitches, aren't they, for the promoters? Well, that's what they are, aren't they? That's true, isn't
Yeah.
it? I remember. Listen,
And
I went to the dinner when they launched it, boxing social. I sat with owner, me and Terry, Dave Allen, who else there? Dennis, Chris Smedley, Liam Cameron. Porky, do you want to do it? I went, I'm not running up and down country. I was at my face at the time anyway when he asked me. I went, nah, I'm not doing that. That's not for me. That's when I get in this toilet here in this curry house. No, I said, that's not for me. And he went with Ben Doherty, didn't he? And Glenn McCrory, boxing social. Remember at the beginning?
I think so. I'm trying to
Oh,
think when I first started watching,
8 years
uh,
ago, that, mate. It's about 8 years ago, that, when it was around about Joshua fighting Klitschko time. I never forget. 8 years
I
ago,
probably,
mate. And I went, no, not for me. And he said, well, how it worked, you'd have to like, you won't be able to be outspoken like you are on Twitter. Because I'd not got a YouTube channel. And I says, look, Neil, if I want to do a YouTube channel, I'll set my own up. And
yeah.
AJ Hobson always used to say to me, you should do that. That's your forte. I went, nah, it's not for me, that. And Dennis says,
I
if
started.
you'll have to play ball with everybody. And I went, nah, I'm not playing ball with anybody. But I did it. But I only did it because Dennis asked me to try and get Liam Cameron and Tommy Frank and Sheedy more tickets sold. That's the only reason it was set up. This. I
I
remember
started.
camera. I see our Dennis invoice. He went, oh, what are you going to do with that? I was, I'm giving it you. He's not paying that. I told you get a second hander. So what am I going to do with it then? He goes, use it for egg and spoon race for sports day for your kids. I goes, you what? I thought, oh, I'm a stoic camera. Well, let me tell you this. All them should be ashamed of themselves because they all know boxing off by heart. Puppy Parsons, Coogan, and all them others, Andy McCart and all them. Whenever there's a question to be asked, they're found wanting because they know if they ask it, they're up the fucking road. There you go. Now, if they were down the pit, men would be killed on their shift. Let
Yeah,
me tell you this: men would be. If they were in a war, there'd be people dropping dead on front line because of them people, because they can't do the jobs right. It has a knock-on effect on the sport, and it's allowed misfits and all this other crap to get involved in sport. Your Jake Paul's coming in and allowed this Turkey bloke just to come in and buy them all, bought them all. Do you remember when we had Daniel Kinahan involved?
yeah.
And everybody were coming out to bat for him, like Big Malcolm, Sam Jones, and everybody, Coogan, and everybody. What a great guy he is, and all that. He's one of your own, never been in trouble in his life, right? Well, if he's so innocent, why don't you get on a plane, go back to Ireland, and see what they want to talk to you about? Why? You love your country that much. Why don't you just get on a plane, go back, and see what it's all about? Because he can't, because
Can I
he's
do it?
wrong, you see. He's either done wrong or he's done wrong and he's putting bodies into old Bill. Because how can he be on the public list, public wanted list, like Bin Laden, Saddam Hussein, and him, Pablo Escobar, and him? They could get all them, but they can't get him. In this day and age, they've got some on moon that can get serial number off my watch here, on the moon, and they can't get him. Are you having a laugh? Like I've just said, he's either putting people into old Bill to stay out, or he's this master criminal. What is it? It's one or other, isn't it?
Got to be, yeah. It's got to be.
But everybody
I
came
thought,
out to bat for him, didn't they? Do you remember?
yeah.
Oh,
Then
Big Malk were doing rounds, wasn't he?
they
Big
slowly
Malk
slithered
and
away, yeah.
Sam Jones, you remember? And then once the gravy train got cut off, they all went missing, didn't they? Oh, they
Disappeared
all
into
jumped ship.
shadows,
They
yeah.
all wanted to come running back to Eddie and Frank, didn't they? They did though, didn't they? They were they were all gutted,
Rat,
weren't they?
rats deserting a sinking ship.
And then Turkey comes along, and then what do you know? Same again, isn't it? It's the same old lick feast job, isn't it? Big Malk's out there calling him His Excellency. Super Bean. Oh my God. We all remember Super Bean hanging around wanting to say goodbye to George Warren. What about when
Good night.
Super Bean were riding high at Sky? He had his neck, Bricktop's neck pressed firmly under his knee, and Eddie Hills's knee pressed down on Bricktop's neck and his dinted head. Two knees on neck, one each, and one each on his head. That's why he's got a dint in his head. And
It's a
now
knee.
look, hanging around at shows wanting to say goodbye to his son.
Goodbye, Mr. Warren.
Oh my! And what were that for? Oh, we've got something going with Izzy and GMB. We're bringing Cash Alley back. He's big. He's on comeback trail. He thinks he's still got something in basement.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? Unbelievable how the rats, and I mean absolute rats, the lot of them. How they all turned. Super Bean! What did you say, Super Bean? I'm leaving Sky to try other challenges and I'm looking forward to it. I relish a challenge. Turning at what? As a floater on Talksport? Do me a favour, Super Bean. Thought you were doing other sports like horse racing and darts. Get your sen gone.
He's now one of the three musketeers with Spencer Oliver and the Gad, eh? The three
Where's Everton
liquors.
cotton on to
Top
them?
liquor.
He needs to square Spencer Oliver his dough back. Right, Del Boy says he's the big selling man now. Is that where we're at? Hey. So
He
if
does. He
Del
gives him
Boy's
his
going
due.
for that fight, right? Del Boy and Dubar, where does that leave Usyk? Then he's going to have to go for Parker, isn't he, or Caballel?
To be honest with you, I'd rather see they fight. So I don't want to see Usyk. I don't want to see Usyk fight Dubois or Chisora. That was mooted as well, wasn't it? But to be honest with you, Usyk's probably a safer fight for Chisora for his head. He's going to get totally. He's still going to get hammered, but it might not have the heavy impact Dubois punches on him. But Chisora's got a kind of cult following, doesn't he? So he will sell tickets, but it's bad. I mean, I don't really want to watch him fight, but because I've got a boxing channel, I kind of have to watch him fight. There's no point me having a boxing channel and not watching people fight because I don't like it. I've kind of got. I feel I've got to kind of watch it, but I don't like it, and it's like a bit like watching a train crash, isn't it? If you're a train spotter, but I'm not a train spotter. I
What?
said I'm not a train spotter. I
Oh,
like trains, but I'm not an avid train spotter.
you what?
But it's like watching a train crash. You got to admit that, and it's. But there's people licensing him. He's wanting to do it, and there's people paying him to do it, and there's people paying to see it. So we can only watch and see what happens and spectate, I suppose. But like you say, there could be a body on a slab at some point. Hey, that's the fear. That is the fear, or somebody in a wheelchair because his brain's been turned to
Well,
beef
it's his
mincer.
own fault, isn't he? He's a bully anyway. I don't even like him anyway, Chisora. I think he's a bully. If he lived round here, he'd get done in, mate. Get done in him. Big, stupid bully he is. Right? Going around intimidating YouTubers and this and that. Who cares about him anyway? And you know, best thing about it is, I know what Bricktop really thinks about Chisora. So all this swapping, spitting, shower nonsense that they're at, it's a load of rubbish because when he left him to go to Eddie Hills, Bricktop swore revenge. And let me tell you, he's got a memory like an elephant. But do you know what?
Maybe he's happy to see him take a beating. Eh? Maybe that's what.
Yeah, listen, mate. For Bricktop, that's how he gets. He'll get off on that. He'll give him that fight and let him get bashed up like they did with Chris Eubank. He couldn't get one over on Eubank, could he? Chris Eubank Senior, sorry. So
Yeah,
in end, because he wouldn't take any fights, would he? Until Earn were done with him. And the
yeah,
only losses on Chris Eubank's career came on Bricktop shows. Did you know that? Two Carl Thompson losses,
yeah,
Joe Calzaghe loss. And he's got another couple of and Steve Collins. They were all shows promoted by Bricktop. He's full five losses. Barry Earn just spoon fed him like they did Joshua because they're accountants
yeah.
by name. Accountants by name.
Get Eubank his due. He's a tough guy. That fights with Carl Thompson, they were wars. Eh? They were hard fights. Eh? Um, he came close to beating Carl Thompson in the first one, but he just wasn't big enough, was he? Carl Thompson, underrated though. Carl Thompson, I liked him. He's a tough guy, wasn't he? And a big puncher. Beat David Hay, didn't he? At the end of his career.
Oh yeah. Well, listen, Carl Thompson. I've met him. He's a lovely kid. Him, Carl
Yeah.
Thompson. He's a really nice kid. He's listen. He was world Muay Thai champion, wasn't he?
Was he? I didn't know that. No, no. It was actually shocking what happened to him with that Johnny Nelson fight. That stoppage, and then there was no chance of ever getting the rematch. He was absolutely robbed there. His world title, wasn't it?
Hey.
I'm saying what happened to him with the Johnny Nelson fight was an absolute
Well, that's the
travesty.
worst one I've ever seen. And Johnny
Kind of,
Nelson, right, to be honest with you, he never got the WBO belt, off him for over 10 years.
I remember you
It's not,
saying that.
yeah, and
Yeah.
that's a true story. That I could read his book. But point I want to make is, do you know why he didn't get it? Because the WBO were like, wow, how did we even give him that victory? Nobody in the world even thought it was a stoppage. They thought they were stopping actually Carl Thompson from throwing.
Uh,
That's what when I watched it, I thought, oh, what's he stopped it for? I don't know if he's caught Johnny there. Johnny looks all right. It were Carl
uh,
Thompson that were throwing as he stopped it. I
yeah.
couldn't believe it.
And his instant reaction, Thompson's instant reaction was, you could tell, it was just
He was jumping around the ring
shocking.
like a lunatic.
Raging, absolutely shocking, He got away with it the way. That's
Can you
another one
tell
he's
me
kept
Johnny
doing.
Nelson's second best win after Carl Thompson?
Um,
Ezra Sellers.
Ezra Sellers, I was ready to say, he dropped him, didn't he? Ezra Sellers dropped
Can you
Johnny
tell
Nelson.
me any more?
It was a guy,
You aren't looking at box rec.
a guy Rothman, was it? Did he fight a guy called? No, I
He
think we
won a
talked about.
world title.
No.
Listen, Johnny Nelson's career, right, is what summit that he piggybacked on Nazim Ahmed. That's all
Yeah.
he did. He tried it with Errol Bomber Graham, and Errol ran out of gas, didn't he? And went missing. And then he needed somebody else to ponce off, and he ponced off Naz. Because all he was, Johnny, you know this is true, Johnny. He says, don't make out you don't. You owe a lot of people a lot of favours, you mate, in Sheffield. Johnny Nelson, right, looks after Johnny Nelson. Don't you, Johnny? Johnny looks after number one. When Errol Graham were riding high, wherever he went in that town centre, I used to see it on a Saturday night. People used to point him out. And everybody used to say, who's the big black geezer with Errol Graham? Nobody even knew who we were. He was just some big dude in a leather. That's all he were. Errol Bomber Graham's tag along. And then he became Naz's tag along. He was Naz cheerleader. I'm telling you now. And Naz used to have him driving about in an S500 Merc. And Naz used to sit in back, nobody in front, only Johnny driving. Isn't that true, Johnny? Could you imagine being treated like that by a little dwarf like Naz? That's a true story, kid, of my children's life. Right, let's blast through this lot here. Chisora versus Usyk 2. Do you want to see it? Yes or no?
No.
Is it a dog with fleas?
Yeah.
Well, Bricktop were talking about that in an interview today. Dubois Chisora, do we want to see that? A man pushing 42 against a 27-year-old.
Dangerous, eh?
Very
Dangerous, huh?
dangerous. Dubois against Usyk 2. Does it need a rematch?
No.
No, there you go. Conclusive first time, yeah?
Yeah, definitely.
Right. AJ injured till September. Dylan White injured till September, October, they're saying. McCauley's ate himself to death. Parker's being swerved, so Spencer Brown tells us. But swerved for what? Beating fat old men like Zeng, yeah, or shot fighters like Wilder, or Joe. Has he beat Joe Joyce as well, Parker?
Put Parker in
No, it's
Macabayel.
Parker. Parker lost to Joe Joyce. That was in 2022, though, wasn't it?
Yeah. Put Parker in Macabayel.
Who else has Parker beat recently? Bacoli's a fat man. Zhang's an old fat man. Wilder's a shot man. So to beat them fat and old men and shot men, does that make you a roadman, Spencer Brown? No, you prick. Big John Fury's still missing. Has anybody seen him? Has anybody seen his stupid son Tyson, the big
Living off the land.
GK? Nobody's
Living off the
seen him, have they? Fat as a pig. Last seen with Wayne Rooney in a bar in Chinatown in Manchester. Dave Allen versus Fisher 2, an area level fight, but they're getting world title money. What do you think to that? That's not bad for Rhino, is it?
Yeah, it's good for them. Good for them getting
Deserves it
that.
though after everything he's put
Aye.
his son through for Matchroom, doesn't he?
Yep. And I hope he does it. I think he'll, unless Elmer Fudd can box that an exemplary game plan and doesn't get dragged into a fight, he can maybe steal a points decision. But I hope hope Dave Allen's fit, and if he's fit, he can drag him into a war again and finish the job. Eh?
Yeah. Well, we'll see.
That's what should happen, but will it
Listen, I
happen?
hope
Maybe.
Dave Allen smashes him to pieces. I don't like him, that Elmer Fudd now, or his stupid fat dad. I don't like them, mate. At least I'll say it straight. Listen, I hope your son gets beat, and I hope the gad gives you a scissor kick to your head, Daddy Fudd. I just don't like him, mate. You know, I'm one of them that cheer for like Joshua to get beaten. That I can tell you, former champion boxers, without mentioning any names, that used to pray that Joshua used to get beat every time he fought. And this is from about fifth fight in. Pray, let me tell you. All right. But then I see them same people having selfies with them in the ring. And I think to myself, wow, wow. Why would you
Uncle.
have a selfie with him when what he said to me yesterday in a text was, I hope he gets his summer head knocked off. But then they're having selfies with him in the ring. That's boxing people for you. Hang your heads in shame, and you know who you are. All right. It is what it is. I'll have my day. But no, this is how it is, mate. And this is why we've kept the concept for 7.5 years bang on here. Because I've gone after them all. If that
It's
ice
about
breaks, Andy, I'm waiting, aren't I?
it's about 5 years and probably 2 weeks, I think, since I first started watching your channel. The reason I remember that is I got taken away in an ambulance 5 years ago today. And I was watching you leading up to that,
Did
on
I save
YouTube.
your life while you were in hospital?
Saved my life. Give me something to fight for.
I gave you something
I
to
was
laugh at in hospital, did I?
I was in a bit of shit state. Just well, I had COVID, so right at the start, full fat COVID. I got
Were you one of
ended
the
up.
first ones to get it, weren't you, if I remember?
Yeah, I was. Wasn't good for a long time. I had to end up with 2 years of long COVID there, but I'm all right now. But it was a bit of a drag at the time. But that's when I started. I was lying in bed at home, not well, and that's when I started watching. I started watching. That's when I started watching YouTube more, and I was watching other stuff, and I was watching you. And I thought, "Oh, you've got a lot to say, but I like what you're saying, eh? You know what I mean? You're calling out all the bullshit, eh? I liked your video. Remember, you used to drive about in the car, making videos, shouting at folk,
Yeah, I did, didn't I? Do you
shouting
remember
oil
the
up
one
your
where I was coming off at A1 and this
exhaust.
woman were overtaking me and her exhaust started falling off? You
Ah,
remember that one?
that's
Yeah.
the one. Oil up your fucking exhaust hanging off.
I had that Mercedes black AMG Merc then, didn't I? I
Yeah.
remember. Uh, I thought, what's that noise? I look, I see your exhaust falling off, love. Remember it? Because
That
as
sticks in
I
my
was
head. That.
filming my in car, I remember
Ah.
thinking, what's that fucking noise? And it was doing me edit noise because the microphone picks it up, doesn't it, really quickly. So normally, if I'm in the studio, I'll just say, keep your noise down there, I can hear you. And I keep the noise down. So I've turned to bollock whoever it were, and it were an exhaust falling off the car. But you know what? You couldn't have timed it perfect for a gag, could you? I said, "Hey, your exhaust
Oh,
there falling off, pop, pop, bang."
I remember one time you were doing an Adam Booth impression. It was on somebody shouting outside, shouting outside.
Stupid Max. I didn't know it was Max, wasn't it? I was doing my Adam Booth impression. What I say to Max is right. If you ever Adam Booth's name's mentioned on air, just stay quiet as soon as it's mentioned, and I'll go, Adam Booth, go to Adam Booth, the Dark Lord, he's the best. And just as I'm in the middle of it, he fucking talked over me, didn't he? After everything I've told him not to do. It's not like James who does it on purpose to get a reaction because he like wants to win that 100 quid, doesn't he, James? Max doesn't need the dough. Max is just stupidly thick, isn't he, and daft. He's a big cuddly teddy bear, isn't he, Max? That's what he is. That's Julian. He's a big cuddly teddy bear, right? You know Max, right? Let me tell you this. Max is like, oh, I'm thinking about what car have you bought? Because I bought a BMW 330D X-Drive Touring. This is a few years ago. This is about 4 year old. He goes, oh, I'm going to buy a fast car. I goes, oh yeah. I goes, get in then, Max. So I took him in it, 120 from Micklebring to Braithwell. He were like climbing out at window. Had a country lane where you're supposed to do 35 and 40. I shouldn't have done it. I'd had a beer and a few other bits and bobs. So I nearly killed me sending it, actually. Nearly killed Max. Took Max back. He was white as a sheet. He went back into the bar at Truck Stop in Ellaby. Tuesday night at Truck Stop Ellaby, had DJ on, karaoke, me pal. Max ball straight in, shaking like a leaf, finished his Coca-Cola. Can you imagine that? Stood there with Gary and John from Welcome Estates. He goes, oh, ask her what do you want to drink? Max, what do you want? He went, a pint of Coca-Cola with ice. I'm like, oh, all right, Max. You want a straw with that and a packet of what's it?
The umbrella.
Oh, I'm driving. I goes, Max, so is everybody else here. Max, you're making me feel stupid here now. People checking in for a wire and that. Casey, what old Bill?
undercover, undercover elephant. Must be a
Anyway, then he
cartoon.
turns up at my gaff, doesn't he, a few months after, and he's smoking a big 50 grand V8 Mac, brand new. Oh, this is hey, they're quick then what he's been in. I've had a go in one of them, they're really mega fast.
Ah,
Really, really fast. So he goes, I goes, oh, I bet this is good on Juice Max. He went, oh, 90 gallon. I said, you've come all the way from Scarborough to see me in a car, 90 gallon Max. You must really love being in my company. You must really love inhaling the same air as the pork.
he's a good lad, though, Max.
He's all right, Max. He's just not a boxer. Did
Aye.
I tell you about that time we were at Nick Manners' gym, right? We are at Nick Manners' gym and Max sparred this Torrance, this 17-year-old, 13 and a half stoner. And he were a non-bouter. And Max had a couple of pro fights. Me and Julian there and Max. Max there, he had no gloves, no gum shield, no boots, no trackie. He were warmed up. He were Vaselined up on eyebrows, on body head and all that, what they call it, that head thing they wear. And he were good to go. And this Torrance just jumped in with him, mate, and just lit him up. He lit Max up. When I was shouting encouragement, obviously I don't know what I'm doing. I just went, Max, use your jab. Like you just say out, don't you? Max, stick him and move. Just trying to make out, what you're on with.
Get off
And
the
do you know
ropes!
what he
Get off
did?
the
He
ropes!
turned and looked at me. I remember looking at him, and he got this fucking thing on his head. And I'm not taking it piss, asked Julian. And it was like, what they put on their heads when they're sparring?
The headgear, aye.
Head guard, yeah. But Max's face were all swollen through it. It was like his head guard were too small for his head.
He's like,
Right, and all his face was swollen where he'd been knocked about. And then next minute, as he stared at me, I thought, Max, you're still sparring. Next minute, bang, straight in face. And nose just went bing. But he didn't go down. He went back to the corner. I'm not going to say what happened after that, but straight after sparring, Nick Manners and Colin got, or is it Rick? I think it was Colin. They got him on floor doing medicine ball. I swear to God, they got that medicine ball, and Max had to put his legs out and take these whacks to his good old boy guts. Oh, ask Julian about that. I swear to God, they set about Max. Proper.
oh, poor Max.
He were folded in half, right? We jumped in his motor on way back to Donny. And I swear to God, I says, Max, are you all right? And he were like, God, that Torrance were like Mike Tyson. But in a way, I'm glad that he realised that, listen, if a 17-year-old non-bouter can do that to you, what's going to happen if you get in with, you know, any of
Fair
these
play
top
for
level
having a go,
journeymen?
eh?
Listen, mate, he turned up at York, Max, didn't he? To in UFC cage, didn't he? Do you remember?
I think I
He
remember
fought that
something
kid
about
in York. He fought that kid in York at UFC, Max. Big fat travelling kid. Max walked in. There were 450 travellers baying for his blood. And you know what Max is like? He's either stupid or brave as out, isn't he? He just turned up on his
that.
own. On his own, he I says, what happened? He says, I was shaking like a leaf going to the ring. Anyway, we know how quick it got over. We were over quick on it, very, very
Ah,
quickly. But it takes some nuts to get in that, doesn't it? But it's no different
all
traveling
right.
around in a pub. We have doorman, is it? But when you're there, it's all an organised fight, isn't it? So I've got to tip my hat off to him. But
Ah,
to be fair to him, them that gave him a bit of stick on here. If he clipped him, he would put him on button moon because he can
ah.
pump. He can whack.
He's a big
He
lump.
can whack. His best weapon's his jab, but he can
Yeah.
whack. He's always overweight, and if you're overweight and you want to be a boxer, it's no good. It's like me. I walk. What am I about 11.8 at the moment? But I could do 11. But if somebody put 3 stone rucksack on my back and said, "Right, you're going to fight somebody at cruiserweight," I almost get my punches off, would I? No, that's just same with him, innit?
He just needs to get a bit of dedication, into the training.
That's all, a bit of dedication and build his profile up on Instagram, and he might get a Misfits fight. Why don't you
Yeah.
call out Joe Egan and go fill the fat cunt in? 'Cause Joe's not going to fight anybody unless he gets paid, and he's only going to get one go at it because he can't throw a punch for more than 20
Ah,
seconds. without
Have
collapsing or out of breath or his arm. He's all broken up and all messed up, and he's on benefits in here. Let's have it right. But listen,
Un last hurrah.
Max, get in there with Joe Egan and fill him in and do us all a favour because we're sick of hearing these stories about Joe Egan and George Foreman now because George is not here to defend himself.
Nah,
So it's not about Mike now, it's about George.
shocking, eh? Shocking.
Yeah,
You
shocking.
want to go into you want to go into part three, Russ?
Go on then, kid. Let's go on to part three. Pop, pop,
Just
bang.
give me
Thanks for
give me
liking,
5 minutes.
subscribing.
Give me
See you
five
when done.
minutes and I'll be
We'll make
give me
it
five.
11:25 then, yeah?
Yeah, that's cool with me.
In a bit.